How's it going, everyone? My name is David Chavez, and this is my presentation, Volunteer Not Voluntold. I understand the venue I'm in right now isn't exactly ideal for this presentation, but this is kind of what I have, so I'm going to make do with what I have. So let's move into the first slide and go over my background. So from 2013 to 2021, I served in the United States Army. I've been deployed. I've done multiple roles in leadership. In 2015, I attended the basic leadership course through the United States Army through the Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. 2020, I attended the advanced leadership course and graduated in order to obtain the rank of Staff Sergeant, which is when I retired shortly after the medical issues. And now here we are in 2025. I'll be completing my bachelor's degree this December. Really exciting, really happy. So this is a bit of letting you guys know me. So we're going to go over the agenda today. The agenda is, what is volunteering, why volunteer, what is leadership, how does volunteering translate to healthy leadership habits, how leadership skills are developed through experience, emotional intelligence, decision-making and problem-solving skills, accountability and responsibility, social networking and opportunities, inspires peers to build the same healthy habits. I know it's a lot of information, but we're going to go over it slowly, and it's going to make sense at the end. So what is volunteering? So volunteering is the act of freely offering time, skills, and energy to help others or support a cause. Now, a lot of the time people are asked to volunteer and they think that it's just give, no take. But volunteering is how relationships are made, how your name becomes apparent. It strengthens connections with not only your community, but your workplace. Your workplace is your community. So you may volunteer to help somebody who is not in your department, but in turns, it helps your career in the long run. It creates a sense of ownership, a sense of presence in your either corporation, business, or professional environment. Why volunteer? So, covering a little bit of why we volunteer. Some of us volunteer for our community, go pick up trash, do something that makes us feel good. We may give up a Saturday, and it was something that we did to give back. A lot of us may do it once in a blue moon, some of us may do it more than others, but we also volunteer daily and we don't even realize it, or we should start doing it, because it is only beneficial to be the first to offer a sense of help when it is needed. And that sense of help may be something as small as bringing something to another department, or letting a hand on a big project that may take up a bit of your time that you may have needed for other things. But in turn, it is a way to build your overall character and your presence, like I said, in your company or wherever you work. What is leadership? So, a lot of us probably have had good leaders in the past, at least one. I'd assume all of us at least had one good leader, and if you haven't had a good leader, you can probably refer back to your parents. I mean, your parents probably taught you the basics of how to, be an adult and function. So, I mean, we've all seen what a good leader is. Sorry about that. We tend to follow those examples when we are given a good leader. Sometimes we're given that leader for a short time rather than a long time. Sometimes we have that leader in our lives for a very long time, and it resonates. We build healthy leadership habits off of them. Some of the influence they have is, crucial to where you will be in the next 10 years. So that influence of what they did and how they did it will transfer to you, and it will be beneficial. But it's also imperative that when they are with you, whether it's a short time or a long time, that you do absorb that information to the best of your ability, and also pass it down to the next group of people, the next generation. For example, my one of my best leaders I had actually in training, and met him later at a duty station, and he ended up being my boss after being my instructor at school. So I had a lot of time with him, per se. But, you know, once he's gone, it's really hard to refer back to the things that he taught you. So it's always good to, get with these people, create a LinkedIn, get their contact information, create these real connections with these people to where you can call at a moment's notice and get the answer you need for a tough situation, especially involving leadership, because they've been your leader for X amount of time. How does volunteering translate to healthy leadership habits? So in the Army, there wasn't really a opportunity for volunteering. That's what my title is, volunteer, not voluntold. Because if you didn't volunteer, you were voluntold, which means you were told to do it because nobody volunteered. You were picked at random, what they call it. It's not random, but they tend to pick the people who volunteer or give up their time the least. So the people who did volunteer, who were the first to stand up whenever help was needed, were always picked last. So in a way, it's more beneficial to volunteer always than not volunteer, because not only will you front load your work ability, but you'll also gain that respect from your peers and your leaders, and they will look at you whenever they need to step out to take over, to take the reins, to make sure everything's functioning while they're gone. This is crucial for professional growth, because when you are in charge, everyone sees that you're in charge. You may not know how to do it completely at the beginning, but you will be given those steps as you go. You will learn from trial and error. And anybody who puts you in a leadership position and knows it's your first leadership position will not sit there and scrutinize you for messing up. They will literally just give you kudos for trying, and that's pretty much what we're doing. They say practice makes perfect, but I believe practice makes progress. So that's something to live by. If anyone ever tells you you need to practice to become perfect, really, we're all human at the end of the day, and we all may mess up, but it's important to know that every time we try, we do better. And every time we're put in a position of leadership, we should always try to improve, because you never know who may be in that formation with you, who is wondering, or is going through something that needs a good leader, a good mentor, someone they can look at, they can call after hours they need. This is just part of the framework you want to use to build these healthy leadership habits. And I personally believe volunteering is the biggest one, because you can't be put in those environments without having you can't be put under that pressure without having this opportunity to be in that situation. We always hear cliche things like, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, or, embrace the suck. When really, that is what we're doing, but at the same time, you're also trying to hone your skills under pressure, because it's better to be good under pressure than not, because there's going to be times when everyone is under pressure, whether it's in real life or whether it's in your professional career. How leadership skills are developed through experience. So I went over a little bit of that right now, but overall, every time you are put in a position where somebody implements trust in you, whether it is literally walking something down the road to give to somebody they are hoping and would like to be ensured that it will reach that person, or if somebody tells you they're going to be out for the week because of a family issue, they can trust that you'll hold down the fort while they're gone. So these are some of the things that I would cover. So learning by doing, which is being put in that position to do. Reflecting and feedback, meaning that if you did mess up or you felt like you messed up, you got that feedback through your mentor and coaching, guiding others, reinforcing leadership principles, and developing emotional intelligence. All right, now we cover emotional intelligence. Recognizing your capacity and stepping up responsibility builds confidence and maturity, which is completely true. You basically being put in these positions of being uncomfortable makes you more mature, because you are ready for those times that you are going to be put in these positions, because they'll happen more than you will expect. No matter what field you're in, there's going to always be a situation where you may have to do a little bit more, and if you're not comfortable at least stepping to the plate and giving it a swing, you're not going to be what we call dependable. You're going to be what we, more of a stagnant individual, and we don't want that. We want to grow. Decision-making, problem solving. Another great thing is when you are put in a position of leadership, you tend to fall under the strategic role more than the actual operational role, which means that you are the one, if you're the leader, you are the one planning how it's going to go, how the pieces are going to move, which then refines your actual decision-making and problem-solving skills, because either way, we have to use these skills if we're in a position of leadership or not. Just because you're in that leadership strategical position doesn't mean that the operational group underneath you is not going to have good ideas. That's why, the emotional intelligence comes involved, where you can listen to your peers or even your subordinates, about better ways to do something, or, you basically collaborate. It doesn't matter, who's exactly in charge. It's all about collaboration. It's all about knowing that collaboration with all is a form of decision-making and problem-solving. Accountability and responsibility. So when you're put in charge and things don't go to plan, which has probably happened to many of us, me many times, we learn that it's not personal. We grow from that. We become better people. We become more resilient. We become better leaders when we know we have to kind of take responsibility for something went wrong, even if it's not directly our fault. It is a level of knowing that because you were on top of the totem pole, you were going to take that first hit, and it shows your subordinates, your peers, that you were going to go to bat for your people. And if you take that hit, and they see you take that hit, and you don't blame them, or you don't come back and try to pass blame, you instead decide to go and have an after-action review and talk with your guys and see what you could have done better. They'll respect that. They'll know that passing blame really does nothing. It is just a way to make yourself feel less guilty. And really, at the end of the day, when you're a leader, it's not about feeling guilty. It's about improving. Also, so when you are put in these leadership positions, and whatever field you're in, you're going to be, you're going to have a supervisor, a manager, a lot of people above you that may be not just above you, but they are in charge of a department. These opportunities are crafted by basically volunteering. You volunteer for what you have to do, such as the scenario I gave, walking something over to another department. You may meet the manager of that department. You may hit it off. You may have a great conversation. You would not seen them if you didn't volunteer. You wouldn't have saw them. You wouldn't have met them. You would have made that connection. And you never know what that connection can bring. It may be, a few years down the road, you want to transfer to their department because they're looking for, say, a supervisor, and there's not a supervisor position open in your department. That is almost more important than everything else. It's basically not what you know, it's who you know. Because anyone could learn on the fly to become a better leader. You don't want to be the type of person that comes into a field and think you know everything. It's better to just be resilient and know people to learn with, to grow with, to be on a team. No company is ran by one person. If that was the case, it would not do very well. Inspires and motivates peers. So when you do these things and you learn to adapt and overcome and build as a team, you will inspire the next generation to be like you. My mentor, who is still my mentor to this day, has just finished 20 years in the United States military, and I still talk to him every day, and I learn from his woes, his struggles, and also his victories. I learned what exactly creates a path to success, and he honestly feels that it's not exactly the achievements he's built, it's the connections he's made along the way, because now that he is retired from the United States military, he is receiving a job that is not because of what he knows, but who he knows, who he helped back in the day. And it's not a take away from his knowledge. It's not because we gave him a handout. It was because sometimes connections are more important than what you know. And it's because you always have to work on a team. So, I mean, I would rather work with somebody that I would enjoy working with than somebody who just knows everything. It becomes less enjoyable. It becomes less of a journey. It's more of, a fast track to getting the day done, which, at the end of the day, we're all striving to the goal, but we at least want to enjoy the journey. So overall, true leadership begins with service. It begins with being there even though you don't want to be there. It means volunteering even when you were going to feel uncomfortable. It's about embracing the suck, as many people say. It's very cliche, but it's nothing but true. You have to put yourself in these positions, even if you make a fool of yourself, even if you feel like you didn't do what you intended to do, even if your plan did not go to plan. The fact that you put yourself in that position proves that you have the resiliency and the grit to lead one day, and these skills will come with time. Nobody walks into a career even after a 4-year education knowing exactly what to do. So it's this presentation is based wholly on starting out strong, because we're graduating, we're on our next step to life. It's about going in with a strong understanding that one day if you want to grow, you have to be a leader. You have to be faced with tough decisions, critical thinking skills, and ways to navigate your professional world. So it's basically a give and take. You may not feel you're exactly ready for the roles, but there's nothing wrong with trying. Nobody is going to be mad that you tried. The only time they'll be mad is if you just did not try, or you do not want to step up, or you do not want to contribute to the team. Because at the end of the day, you never know the scenario. What may happen. Somebody may decide to quit, and you fall next in line for seniority, and then you're put in a position that you basically have to fill if you want to succeed. Nobody wants somebody underneath them to jump over them because they decided to, step up to the plate. So it's important we all step up to the plate now that we're coming out of, our 4-year education plan, and it's very wholesome to, I would say, this presentation, to just say it's as simple as volunteering, because it honestly is. I was told this from the beginning of my military career, and it's the only thing I've taken away throughout that has worked for everything through the military. That was transferable. The military is not exactly for everybody, and we understand that, but leadership it has to happen. No company is going to strive without the team, without somebody leading the charge, without somebody taking the helm and driving that boat to success. My citations, once again, my name is Dave Chavez, Army veteran, currently working for the City of McKinney Police Department. I appreciate your guys' time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I hope you all have a great day.